Hi everyone, this is Alan. It's been a while, maybe a good week. I've been having some technical difficulties with my video system, so we're going to try to make this brief. But we are in our third week challenge, or I am. I hope you're with me. And we're talking about arguments, research arguments, and creative applications in the digital age. Being that we're talking about integrative writing and digital literacy for adult learners, as well as critical thinking for the digital age, I thought we'd continue talking about research and arguments and creative applications. As you know, we did the collage, and collage is a creative application. And next week we'll be hopefully talking about revision strategies and peer feedback. Now I integrated those into my, no pun intended, into my review of arguments, and maybe this will help you. So let's see, research, arguments, and creative applications. Now research itself, let's just break it down. Research itself can be digital, as you know. Most people go online to do that. And you can actually just do a Google search and you'll find most things. And if you do a search as empirical articles or peer reviews, I'm sure you'll get professional journal reviews as well. So, but that's not it. That's not the only thing. There are other ways of getting research information, as you know today. We're talking about videos, and also I did mention professional journals, but also general specific journals like Psychology Today or Poets and Writers. I don't consider them professional journals, although they do talk about the profession. I don't see them as academic journals. So when you're talking about peer reviews and stuff like that, there has to be a body of research connected to your research itself. For instance, when you're using academic journals, they usually mention their list of references or bibliography considering English. And so that those are the research that I know of. Now in the digital age, I know that probably some journals and professional journals now are using AI to process or to eliminate some of their research for the most recent, as opposed to the. It used to be 20 years, but now it's 10 or 15, or 10 to 5 years of peer review that is cumulative. That's why I'm saying in my argument that based on my research, it is almost considered not only an argument, but aggressive instead of assertive, to think that using new peer reviews and collaborative presentations are considered using your own voice. When we're talking about our own voice, I'm talking about our interest, and that goes into our prior journal and reflection journal entries and collage work. So when you're talking about creative applications, if you're not doing the reflective journals like I am, this is reflective journal 3 actually. Then you won't really, you can't, well, you won't be able to really start your proposal. So what I suggest is that you go back to your collage and then look at your reflections and your journals and how they relate to your interest, and your interest relates to your argument strategies. What strategies are you going to take? Mine are, in the end, is debating the issue of inclusivity versus intersectionality, as well as the idea of knowing something and learning about something. So the end game is not to know everything going into your research, but the argument is that to learn from your it is part of your strategy to learn from your research, right? So that's why we're doing research, is to learn from it. So and of course, putting this all together, your research has to be of a certain breadth. What do I mean about that? It has to be of at least 5 to 10 resources that you can actually relate to in your interest. For instance, mine's going to go into poetic voice as opposed to formal voice, and about earlier education of poetry versus the classical education in academic writing. So, and then I'm going to pair that with former research versus digital research, or AI. And where do we come out at the end of our research, and what is the what are the hopes versus the realities of the research? So I'm finding that my research is in only the reflection stage, but once I get into the peer review and stuff, then which is next week, then we will start digging into the articles, where we can search out articles. Now, one way of using the prior work that we've done is to use those YouTube channels that I've given you, or connections. And long story short of it, if you're not aware of what these reflections are doing for you in your journal, they are also providing you with revised, or they're helping you to begin your proposal of your new of your interests, and then with that, you're going to also make sure your thesis statement, as well as I have done. My thesis statement involves the argumentative statement. What do I mean by that? Is that it has to be not just a flat sentence. It's this. It has to be a independent statement versus a how do I say this? I don't want to say codependent. It has to compete with the independent statement. So you'll state your independent statement, what your statement is, but in the same sentence, you want to make sure that you're also contrasting that, or you're disputing it. So that can be in words like me. I used aggressive versus assertive, but what my interests are of course the writing voice, and my versus the spoken voice, and where does that come from, and how does slam poetry or performance poetry relate to writing poetry, and and where's the fine lines between persuasive speech and informative speech. And you can do all this, and I have learned that I could do all this through taking other courses in my undergrad. So what I did is we we must rely on our past interest to move forward where our limited poetic voices allow us, even though the argument seems more aggressive than an assertive discussion between new peers in a collaborative presentation. So you can see how I'm layering my thesis statement. I entered the thesis statement by saying we don't know everything as new students, nor as older adult learners. So you see how I did that? So hopefully this will help you with your beginning proposal for your research. Again, they can be the same thing, right? Your proposal, your research proposal can be based on your reflective journal. So please use your reflective journals wisely. And that's not to say that you're going to have a complete essay by the end of it. Now mine was about 3 pages, but that's, about 5 pages. And that's single spaced by hand. That's not to say it's going to be shorter or longer. So let's talk about the 4th week and try to project what we're going to do and get some optimistic thoughts going and hopeful ideas of saying we don't know everything and that things are not conclusive at this time. We don't have all the information. So the reason why we're talking about the 4th week is about talking about revision strategies and peer feedback, right? So your first draft of your argumentative essay should be not only your proposal statement or your, but should relate to your reflective journal. Your reflective journal should be your proposal statement, right? Or should incorporate your proposal statement. And that's what I was asking for, I believe, in our former video, is just your proposal statement. It doesn't have to be in thesis form like I did, because I'm not expecting that. But my challenge is to do the best and to try to supersede what I'm anticipating to do, if that makes sense. I'm just trying to do better, try to do the best I can. So, but in our next draft or our first draft of our argumentative proposal, we'll start our argumentative essay. Okay, that means flushing out the whole reflective journal, trying to get the beginning, middle, and end, the introduction, the thesis, the body of your work, what you're planning on doing. And if you're not sure, again, try to use your peers, try to flush out some of your main ideas. For instance, don't forget the Cornell method is to, write on one side, and then on the other side is to write little annotations of what you're doing after each paragraph. What's your idea? Now I did it the opposite. I said voice, success, classism, status, isolation of learning, as an adult struggling with new forms, professional. I don't know what that word is right now. Optimism and resilience. Realities, professional realities. What are some of the realities from our former collage work journal entry? We were talking about our voice and how our interests were not always encouraged, or at least that's what I was doing. So what I'm trying to bring forward is that the reality of not everybody's going to like what we say. And that's okay, because that gives us that's part of our interest, and that's why we're continuing our writing. of these of our interest through an argumentative essay. And we're not writing an an argumentative essay for the right to prove someone else wrong. It's not only that, it's also to supersede those myths or ideas that we had in our heads and try to go forward. So for next week, I'm going to look at this, and I hope I can find it, the power of constructive feedback. You may want to find your own articles or your own videos, articles. But what you again want to do is start journaling this information down in any way you can. Like again, I do appreciate the idea of using different methods of note taking as part of your reflective journal. I also like the idea of using visuals. The minimal I will accept for visuals are doodles, okay? But with those doodles, you'll have to also annotate that information as well as give some conclusive journal entry. That's what I would say as, academic preparatory work. Okay, so the other part is to find that essay, to find out about the videos, the power of constructive feedback. Now, the way I think of critiquing is that you say the good things first. Try to think about 3 good things you think about your work so far, and then try to flip that around and think about 3 bad things or better things that you can do. I think that's a better way of doing it, is try to think of 3 better ways of doing it. And that's probably a better way of helping one another. So as a group of new adult learners. So in our class discussions, or in your discussions among your peers, whoever you're challenging with, or friends or family or whomever, or even just getting on with those AI, ideas, and trying to discuss that with the AIs that people are using nowadays, and trying to get feedback on your work so far. That will help you render some revisions and essay structures according to what you want to create. Now again, if you don't have help, find help. If you need a tutor, get a tutoring. I'm not saying that it's affordable, but like someone I heard recently on YouTube saying, if there's a will, there's a way. You can find the help. And that's and again, if you're listening to these videos and stuff like that, remember that you start documenting them. And so what I'm going to do after this is to document my search for the power of constructive feedback. And maybe I'll post it here for you folks. But again, that is not in reference or bibliography form. So MLA is the form that you want it in. And of course you want the most recent version, which I think is 7 or 8 version. And you can look that up through online. I think Rutgers or Purdue has an MLA form. Purdue University has a very conclusive, succinct, up-to-date structures of MLA research styles. And what you'll do is you'll start collecting your references. You can call it references right now, but a bibliography, maybe it would be considered. If you haven't done that in high school, I would look that up also through Rutgers, Purdue. So the long story short of it, and the simple responses are, try to get that interaction going online with your peers, even if it's on a chat, Facebook chat, all these other online chat forums. I know there are different forums out there, and even for me, the poetry ones that are on X, they give you feedback sometimes. So try to do that. Okay, and of course, I'm going to extend this, the references and the argumentative essay structure to the 5th week. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to think about it until after the 5th week, because I have to gather my data, information, and stuff like that. So, but we'll be talking about it in the next week. And I hope this helps you. And if not, let me read you a poem to help encourage some change. See if I have anything that's going to be of encouraging and fun. These are poems that I've done recently, and I haven't really edited them. But let's see, maybe this will help give you some metaphoric inspiration. It's called Between Meals. There are times when play is as serious as being a dog, a master that leads that's led on a tether of memories and melancholia. A lamb in the forest, a merriment instance of recall. Did you hear me exactly, my human companion? I'll tell you again, I will tell you again instantly. I am waiting for my quality time, when all eyes are on me. I will use the hell out of you. I'm waiting for you immediately, comforting attentively now. So, if this helps you to work on your essay, then that is why I read it. And here's another one, or a piece of another one called Narcissus. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the word narcissist or narcissist, but a narcissus is also narcissus is a flower or a daffodil. How do I accept you as we marry this picture? This portrait is a suit and a gown, as if to crown my desires, to wane from my virginous sins of him. Is it all the festivities, he or the circus of artists making history, that make this art worth your ear, your purchase of a new image of a Narcissus? Okay, I hope this inspires you to do great work and continue to write those journals. Okay, take care. Talk to you soon, and keep creating and keep learning at your own pace. And because you'll gather so much information from that. All right, take care. Keep on reading. Bye bye.